Yeah, it's not the most amazing car and memorabilia museum you've ever seen. It's the most amazing car and memorabilia museum you've never seen. A private collection never opened to the public before this one weekend. And then, once this one weekend is over, never open to the public again.
I want to drive my car.
Unbelievable. It is.
I want to drive my car.
I can't believe one person has all of this.
Further on.
I know, it is amazing.
I want to drive my car.
Yep, you could call it the Vanoy Museum of American Car Culture. Another sightseeing must-see on your next trip to the North Carolina mountains. Except Vanoy isn't a museum at all. No ticket booths or tour groups here, just a ho-hum plain brown wrapper construction company on the outside until you walk inside and you see this one-man, no-name, under-the-radar car collection. The pride and joy of Eddie Vanoy. You know, Eddie's place. Nearly 100 cars altogether, some old cars, some new cars, a lot of muscle cars, but all rare cars. One-of-a-kind Corvettes, Cadillacs, Jeeps and Heaps, classics and collector cars, almost all made in the USA. And on this one weekend, almost all for sale.
So, 105,000.
Lots of six-figure bids in this auction.
110, 120, 120, 130, 130.
For Vanoy's 1941 Beverly Hills fire truck, one of only 5 ever made, and it's the only one still around today.
So, $210,000 to the telephone guy. V25's a 1970 Plymouth Superbird.
Yeah, so the Superbird eventually went for $203,000. And how about this perfect red and rare 1969 Dodge Daytona? The top seller at the Vanoy auction, $231,000.
I've never seen anything in my life that's so vast and so deep and so well put together by one man.
After 15 years in the auction business, Sam Murtaugh thought he'd seen it all. But he says Eddie Vanoy's collection is different, and it's not just the cars either.
This is art. A lot of it is art. It's true art.
What Vanoy also went looking for all these years is the art of the American highway. What you saw out the side window as a kid on those long family car trips. Not the rusted out, crusted out today version, but the same way it was back then in the 50s and 60s and 70s. Still nice and new and neon.
They're memory ringers, you know, and they ring bells for a lot of people. And that's really what a lot of the desire of this stuff is.
We're talking about Vanoy's one-of-a-kind memorabilia collection in his exact replica roadside soda shop, all gleaming chrome and color, where maybe you can imagine date night as a teenager, especially if you had a cool red Chevy like this one to show off right out front.
The things you see that when you were a child that you're looking at now brings back a lot of memories, so it's neat. It's just so neat.
Karen and Bill Barclay drove down from Indiana to see the Vanoy collection and maybe bring home a souvenir memory of their own.
Well, I'm looking at the Buicks. I'm a GS fan.
Byron Roseborough of Charlotte says it's like a time machine. The V8 muscle cars of his youth, decades later, still the same as he remembers them.
I also like the 67 Chevelles, and I grew up with these in the family, so.
And then there's Bernie Hogan, in town from Kentucky to see the Vanoy collection, like hundreds of other auction bidders, for the first, last, and only time.
Every car here is just beautiful. Every piece of everything. Look around me. I mean, look at the ceilings. It's just everything is beautiful.
You know, Eddie has amassed this collection over probably 35, 40 years, you know, going to swap meets and flea markets and doing it the traditional way. And, you know, the fact that he amassed such a large collection in that manner is quite mind-boggling, really.
Equally mind-boggling is the fact that in one weekend, he's decided to sell the whole thing.
It's quite bittersweet, you know, and seeing it and making that decision to sell everything had to have been a hard one.
I've got 350 in the front with Clint. You want
Almost 100 classic cars and 3,000 pieces of priceless memorabilia
so for
in a $15 million auction. No sign of Eddie himself here, but one last peek at his private world of cars pretty much says it all. Yeah, a pretty remarkable 5 days up here in Jefferson, North Carolina. By the way, this NASCAR number 42 car and the number 48 car behind me, among the few items not for sale in this auction. Otherwise, the collection of a lifetime, gone in one long weekend.